This is a Tracking the Tropics update with a certified most accurate weather team at First Coast News.
Well, as of 8 a.m. here on our Saturday morning, we now have our third named storm system of 2025 in the Atlantic Basin. Of course, Tropical Storm Chantal, located basically due east of Jacksonville by several hundred miles. So it is well out to sea, but it is going to have some side effects on the First Coast. More so impacts to South Carolina and North Carolina. We also have our chief meteorologist, of course, Lewis Turner, here on our Saturday morning. Good morning, Lou.
Good morning, Robert. Thanks for having me on your program. I appreciate spending time with you and the folks. And I do want to say, just a little housekeeping note. Maybe you at home aren't aware, but Robert Speta has just got a nice promotion. With the digital, he is now officially our digital meteorologist. He is our champion for all of these wonderful streams you see, and clearly he does such a phenomenal job. So I just have the privilege of hanging out with him as he drives this, and we kind of watch and talk about what Chantal is going to do, what it's doing right now. If taking a look at just the very basics, about 150, 200 miles to our east. And as far as the center of circulation, look how lopsided this system is as you're looking at the infrared picture of this storm. We are on a much cleaner side. Being on this east side to the left of the storm, while we certainly could face a couple of waves of rain today, bigger waves at the beach, small craft advisories, things like that. We'll get in the local picture here in a moment. But for our friends in the Carolinas now, this is going to be a pretty big rainmaker to the north and to the west of this system. This looking like it's very likely going to make a landfall sometime after midnight tonight and into early Sunday morning near Myrtle Beach, north of Charleston. I watched that, and if I could just get into the Carolinas for just a moment and thinking about the impacts they'll face. So Charleston is awfully similar topographically to St. Augustine, and they're on a peninsula. They're below sea level, like a bowl, just like St. Augustine is. If they get 2 inches of rain in an afternoon, they flood. So this is a situation where I'd be watching some urban flooding for a place like Charleston and for perhaps Myrtle Beach as well. But luckily, this is going to be a very short-lived situation as they deal with those gusts and those waves of rain. And Charleston looking like it's going to remain on a favorable side of the system, being more on the east side. So while they will get those waves of rain, the heavy downpours, the wind profile is a little more favorable, meaning they might get more of a southerly and a northerly wind flushing out some of those waterways. So that could help them. But we do have tropical storm warnings in place from basically the lower Santee River, right north of Charleston, all the way up to Cape Fear, North Carolina. And so a big Carolinas storm there. Eastern North Carolina could see some flooding rains there as well. So that's kind of your big picture, a 40-mile-an-hour wind. So we've got that official tropical storm. Hurricane Center watched that, and as Robert said, 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock's kind of been our magic hours. That's kind of anecdotal, but I've been watching these 8 o'clock updates. 8 a.m. and p.m. is when we've been getting the big updates with this particular storm. So, Robert, bringing you in, talking about what your thoughts as far as the Carolinas and impacts here locally as well.
I think you nailed it pretty much there, and it's not going to be the most. We do not anticipate destructive type conditions there.
Correct.
But I think one of the big issues is going to be these rain bands basically coming on shore. And I'm trying to load up the warnings. So you were mentioning the warnings here. We do have those tropical storm warnings in place, basically Charleston up towards the Myrtle Beach area. But if we go back to that satellite and radar, here's the deal. Let's pull back the picture. This is kind of my concern. Concern is, putting it just aggressively, I suppose, but for the people that are going to be seeing the biggest impacts. By the way, this SATRAD, for those of you who are unaware of the technology here, so see the areas where it's not green on the east side of the storm? That does not mean it's not raining there. It just means the radars can't see it. The radars are land-based. So you have to remember that this is all just this big, just plume of moisture kind of getting pulled off of the Gulf Stream and moving towards the north. So this is really lopsided, but I think as far as the Carolinas are concerned, the issue is going to be this setup where we're going to get this training being like a train track. Let's say you laid down on a train track. Don't do that, please. You laid on a train track, train ran over you. It's one car after another, after another, after another on top of you. And that's when we talk about with training. And unfortunately, that could be the case for some of those coastal areas in South Carolina towards North Carolina, where some spots could see as much as 4 to 6 inches of total precipitation before all is said and done. So we always pay attention to the center line, and especially when we're talking about a hurricane, the eye wall, But with this storm, it's you look at the spaghetti plots here, it's more about the right front quadrant, the AKA dirty side of the storm out here, right, Lou?
Yeah, and so those modeling, the models that would suggest, and they're outliers, that anything that would be south or west of Charleston would be a bigger problem for them. And we mentioned Charleston, of course, because it's one of our nation's most famous cities, and something that I think we can all kind of latch onto and think about. Myrtle Beach, of course, as well. When you're looking at some of those wind speeds gusting up to those.
Myrtle Beach, I think my thought on it now, Lou, is that it is the 4th of July weekend.
Yes.
Myrtle Beach is a big tourist spot, right?
100%.
So
100%.
Imagine you're coming from North Dakota, and you're like, I'm going to the beach for 4th of July. I'm going to have a great weekend. I'm getting into the water. I don't care what anybody says.
You're going to get big waves. I mean, the rip current risk for us is already elevated, and for them, it's going to be even bigger. It's one of those things where, okay, so you're coming from the Midwest, or, Ohio is such a big spot for folks to get out of and go to Myrtle Beach. It's just been my experience being around there. If you're in a safe place, if you've got a nice condo spot and you're going to get to spectate a landfalling tropical storm, hey, that's part of the tourism experience. And you can just go back home and say, guess what we went through? We went through a tropical storm. It's not necessarily one of those things you're going to have to run from, but it's one of those things you need to just kind of hide from. You're hanging out.
I think the big thing is just don't go to the beach.
Right.
Definitely don't go into the water. And I think that's the same case for Jacksonville is don't go in the water. You could probably go to the beach, but you don't want to go into the water.
Yep.
But there, it definitely is going to put a mess. It's not going to be a great beach weekend. There's plenty of other stuff to do, even a little bit inland. This isn't a Helene where it's going to run out towards Asheville and dump a ton of rain.
Yeah.
More of a coastal event before, and we can see here as we go ahead through 11 into 2 o'clock, into Sunday morning. It tracks inland, but starts to kind of lose its intensity pretty quickly here.
You brought up the 4th of July weekend quickly. Good morning, Kim. Good morning, Michael. Happy Independence Day to both of you. Thanks for chiming in on our stream here. Any questions, fire them away. But you brought up 4th of July weekend. Another kind of thought here, and I've had a couple of questions on my personal Facebook where folks, they're out of town right now. And of course, they're thinking, when should I be hitting? So 95, of course, major thoroughfare that folks would be coming home from if you went north, if you went to the Carolinas or had to go through the Carolinas for some of the travel. So if you're watching this stream from out of town and you're thinking, when do I need to get back to Jacksonville? If Sunday was a part of your travel plans, earlier the better now, or you're going to need to wait because 95 is going to be, it's already just an awful highway to drive through South Carolina, and I can say that because that's where I was born and raised, so South Carolina native, and I can talk smack very freely and clearly about just how terrible the infrastructure is running through that, and if you just get a minor shower on I-95, especially once you get south of 26 and you're running through Yemassee and Hardeeville, things like that, you run into bad traffic. It's going to be bad. So let me go ahead and tell you that now. What would the amount of people trying to get home from the 4th of July, or if you're trying to drive north, this beat the crowds, do it now. I know maybe it'll cut your weekend short, but otherwise you're going to be waiting through Sunday. Just travel seems to be an issue on that 95 corridor through the Carolinas. So be very careful.
This is actually a live look out of Charleston right now. I mean, it's not like a whiteout condition, but you're right. A busy I-95 with a tropical storm coming on shore. Not the greatest type of conditions here. Actually, you know what, Malcolm? I am curious. Do we have Malcolm is our digital producer, kind of behind the scenes, always giving him a shout out here. Do we still have that dirty side of the storm package in there? And Lou, if it's all right with you, because we're talking about the right side of the storm, aka dirty side of the storm.
Yeah. And as we do that, I did get a question from Gay Pappas. Will Charlotte be affected? So let's do this. Let's watch this kind of information about the dirty side real quick, and then we're going to come back and Gay, we will answer your question. But I think this story may have a little answer for you, kind of indirectly, when it comes to Charlotte, and we'll talk about that more clearly. So yeah, take it away.
I think he might be still trying to pull it up right now.
Okay. Well,
the dirty side of a storm refers to the area of a hurricane or tropical system where you'll find the highest winds, highest storm surge, and the greatest tornado threat. So what side of the storm is that? Well, generally, it's the northeast side of the storm, or more simply put, the right side of the storm. But it also depends on which direction the storm is moving. If it's traveling in a northern direction, the dirty side will be more on the direct right-hand or eastern side. If the storm is traveling in a more western direction, the dirty side will be more on top of it. So what makes it so dirty? It's all about the wind direction and a little math. For example, if a storm is moving north at 30 miles per hour and has wind speeds of 100 miles per hour, then the storm will produce winds of 130 miles per hour on the right dirty side. While on the left side, winds move in the opposite direction of the storm's movement, so they'll be slower at about 70 miles an hour. It's important to remember, though, as the storm grows stronger, every side becomes dangerous. Meteorologist Lee Southwick, First Coast News on your side.
And before we answer some more of these questions here for you, I do want to remind you, if you're streaming on FCM Plus, thank you so much for watching on our streaming platforms. If you're streaming on our social medias, Facebook or YouTube, we have the ability to take your questions and comments here. Already seeing a bunch of questions come in, and we're going to do our best to answer them, help you plan out your weekend. So, Lou, you said we had one out of Charlotte here, right?
Yes. So let's with the dirty side on our minds, being that front right or northeastern side, and you got Charlotte, of course, about an hour and a half north of Columbia, and that would be up 77. Will Charlotte be impacted? Well, I think certainly waves of rain will be possible there in Charlotte. But by the time this thing is tracking inland and we're losing a lot of its punch, I think mainly just kind of rainmaker for Charlotte, because again, you'll be on the more favorable side. But look, banding, absolutely possible. And as we get into Sunday early morning, now while a lot of times most folks would be sleeping or maybe just waking up and getting coffee Sunday morning in Charlotte, but certainly some heavy rain. I'm just checking a few other kind of resources. I have a few great meteorologist friends that work and live in Charlotte, and kind of going to lean on some of their expertise as well. One of my favorite. I humbly like to submit to other experts as well.
And definitely, and I feel you. The same thing goes for other Mets around the country when we're talking about Jacksonville. Always you want to lean on your local meteorologist.
Yes.
For the latest and greatest information, because they're the ones that are focused on. Not saying that one meteorologist is smarter than the other, but they're focused. Right now, we're focused on the Jacksonville area, so we often try to talk to our friends around the country and see what's happening elsewhere.
But yeah, they're not really. Still talking about some potential for thunderstorms Sunday in Charlotte, but impacts, relatively speaking, minimal when it comes to anything that's devastating. So I think in Charlotte, let's plan on a kind of a rainy day for our Sunday.
Lou, I want to take two questions here, or comments, I should say, off of our YouTube. Heather Smith says, yay, I love this. GM Sweet Lou and Big Game Bob.
Big Game Bob. I love it. Thank you. Good morning.
Thank you, as always, for doing this updates. Love it. Mike Mitchell says, what time do you expect rain for us today, and how far inland? I assume, is for Jacksonville. Yeah. So today, I think, and Lou, you can jump in here anytime you want, but I'm going to try to pull up our hour-by-hour futurecast for our local area in Jacksonville, because we are going to see kind of these waves of precipitation out here today, right?
Yeah, and watch the Gulf Stream. So watch some of that convection that's popping there. What would be just east of, say, the Space Coast, and some of those showers kind of come on shore. But how far inland? It's not very. So a lot of this is going to come on shore, kind of fall apart. But I will say, so we've been forecasting all week, talking about the chance of rain for today, and throughout the forecasting, as we make our own forecasts and then we lean on the experts at the Weather Prediction Center, kind of looking at their excessive rainfall risk, throughout the week, Saturday has really never been highlighted for the potential for flash flooding. Okay, so we've never been impressed. We've talked about the waves of rain coming on the beach, but they're going to move so quickly because of the steering flow, because of the those strong east and northeast breezes, that you're going to get under one of these showers, and before you know it, it's going to be over. So while training is going to be a potential, but more for the Carolinas. For us, those showers are just going to blow west. You might get under it for 10 minutes, and then quickly it's over. Maybe a second wave comes in, gives you another 5-10 minutes, and then it's over. So don't get too excited about the idea of, I can turn off my irrigation for this event. Not quite one of those, in fact. So
and to piggyback off of that, Lou,
please.
Don't cancel your plans, please. Right. Unless your plan is to go swimming in the ocean.
There you go.
Don't cancel your plans. And you asked how far inland. So let's say you're in Gainesville, Lake City, Sanderson, Baldwin, Middleburg, any of those areas. If it does rain, it's just going to be like this, as Lou was talking about, quick. It passes by. You know, we all know how tropical showers are around tropical systems, and especially those outer rain bands. They don't last long. Often they're really shallow, so we don't look at a lot of lightning out of them. But I'm not saying we're going to be lightning free, but the big thing is this going to kick on by. I don't expect flooding rains. We are kind of in this dry slot on the left side of this storm system. So I honestly think for the Jacksonville area, the bigger issue for us is not the rainfall. Yeah, we're going to have those passing showers. I think the bigger issue is going to be out there at the area beaches here, Lou.
And here's the thing. So if you're, amateur meteorologist, or you're a pro yourself and you're watching your radar app, hopefully maybe the First Coast News app or whatever your app of choice when you're watching radar, what you're going to see is what would be a pretty impressive band moving in towards the coast. And then you're going to notice like what's happening off the coast of McIntosh and Glenn County in southeast Georgia right now. Those little showers are losing a little bit of energy. And they may try to hold themselves together as they come on shore, right offshore of Fernandina Beach right now. You're trying its best to hold strong, but really those sea surface temperatures close to the beach right now aren't that impressive. So they're getting a lot of juice and a lot of convective energy from the Gulf Stream, but then they get closer. And then, of course, when they hit land, not much convective energy. We've got PWatts, precipitable water, in that 2-inch range today, so there is moisture in the atmosphere. But they don't keep their energy together as they approach the shallower water on our shelf and then get towards land. So again, rainfall totals not overly impressed with. So we go through our day. Robert mentioned not canceling plans. And we got jumbo shrimp tonight at 6. I think everything's kind of a go. Maybe have a poncho in the back pocket or in your purse just in case you get rained on a little bit. But overall, 6 o'clock, 6:35 first pitch. By the time we're going through baseball and your outlook, you're looking pretty good. And
I made this forecast here, and I was being very aggressive on that chance of rain. I do want to mention most of this is going to probably push towards west with that first pitch at 6:35. So I wouldn't cancel it. The fireworks are going again this evening at the Jumbo Shrimp as well, right?
Can't answer that. They usually do Friday night lights. I know they did it last night, and I know they really went all out. Their biggest one of the year. So I'm not sure if they're backing it up Saturday. They usually do. They usually go Friday, Saturday. I'm not sure with the. Here's hoping, and it had been on the schedule. So let me. I'll just kind of say, hopefully, I'm planning on going. So I would love to see some more fireworks.
Lou, one of our questions on YouTube, they asked if it's going to strengthen anymore. And according to the National Hurricane Center, I think we could see some slight strengthening. I think, and this is for the Carolinas, this shows 40 miles per hour, but it could be a little bit more. It's all because of that banding kind of pumping into the storm system. Now, do I expect rapid intensification? No, and I know that has become more of an occurrence, but here's the deal with this, and you can just analyze the satellite imagery here together, is look at this right here. So you see the shear coming off the north side, see those cirrus clouds?
Oh, yeah.
Right there. That is good outflow aloft. Storms need that, but also kind of indicates that wind coming from the west towards the east pushing on this. So despite it moving over very warm sea surface temperatures, and it does have this inflow of convection, that is the reason why this is getting fueled up to a tropical storm. It does have that counterbalance with the shear, should limit it from gathering that intensity. Now, if let's say the shear was 10, 20 knots less. I say knots. That's the Navy in me. This could spin up pretty quickly, but that's not the case here, Lou, right?
Right. And timing is going to be an issue. I will say, if you're looking at computer models and looking at some of the ensembles, they'll put out a look that will give percentage of chance of a tropical storm developing, depression developing, hurricane developing. And all along those ensembles were showing really good chances, high chances of us getting a depression, medium risk of getting a tropical storm, and essentially zero risk of finding a hurricane. So if the question is, are we going to get rapid intensification up to a hurricane, we'd have to get up, 74 mile an hour. We'd have to do a lot of strengthening in what's going to be a very short amount of time, because we're talking about center of circulation being up and over land by midnight tonight. And, or early morning hours of Sunday morning.
And it's not like we've never seen that before.
Right.
It's just that's a different atmosphere. And I think if this was September and the jet stream was even lifted further north, the sea surface temperatures were a bit warmer, we maybe could. But none of the guidance is showing. I mean, look at this. This is landfall of a tropical storm, and the max wind gusts our guidance is showing is 30, 40 miles per hour. You need 74 for a sustained hurricane.
Yep.
So it's just not there. I think the bigger issue there, of course, is the wind rate along the immediate coast, but more so that training with that inflow of rainfall. So, and I personally have seen, and Lou, I'm sure you can back me up on this, some absolutely rough storms that have hit some areas that were not hurricanes. They were tropical storms.
Oh, yeah.
And they brought flooding rains. So it can happen,
Oh, yeah. The slow movers, slow moving tropical storm, the issue becomes, the flooding. Let's think locally now. Local impacts. So we've kind of talked about what our Carolinas are going to go through as we go through our day now. So waves of rain, we've talked about that. But what about the water? What about our salt lifers, our river friends, our ocean friends want to surf? The waves are going to be ripping out there. It might be a nice ride. In fact, one of our fine expert researchers of the ocean was texting us. Old Tim Deegan was on the text line saying he's going to do some research today.
I love when he says that. Doing some research out there.
Do a little recon for us. I appreciate it.
It means he's surfing, by the way.
It means he's surfing.
Yeah.
It means he's going to do a full immersion. But we've got the rip current risk. So I'm talking expert swimmers, and let us always yield to the expertise and the guidance of those lifeguards out there. But small craft advisories as well. And we've seen not only the risk of rips, with these winds, but also wave heights, pretty impressive. So let's think about our fishing trips today, keeping it as near shore, inshore as possible, because we're going to get some larger wave heights out there.
I mean, today is one of those days where I would love to go out into the water today. The tides are great for going boating. The low tide is in the morning, high tide's in the afternoon, so you don't have to worry about that tide falling on you. But I think the issue is the passing shower. So if you have like a deck boat, you have a little John boat, something that you don't really have a lot of cover, those showers, when they do come, they're going to come quick and they'll kick on by. So if you're 10 miles away from the boat ramp, you could get hit pretty quickly. Now, if you don't mind that, and if you have a bigger boat that can sustain that, that's fine. Going offshore today is not advisable. I mean, you can see the waves here at 4 or 5 feet. I'm talking about rolling around the intracoastal if you want to go for it. Offshore, I mean, even ships, say that's indicating 8 to 9 feet. You got an 18 or 15 foot boat and you go out to 7, 8 foot seas offshore.
the math doesn't work out, does it? Yeah, you're going to need to be in that 30-foot container today, deep V hull, and able to cut through. And even then, that doesn't look outstanding. So let's get beyond today, and then get your fishing itch come Sunday and Monday as the rain chances begin to go down. So our forecast winds, we were talking about seeing gusts of 25 potentially at our beaches, and I think in particular up in southeast Georgia. So our southeast Georgia beaches going to get maybe a higher gust, but certainly Mayport, Jacks Beach. The further south you go, the better off as far as the gusts are concerned that you're going to be.
Jackson Brown actually asked, what about the St. John's today? And I hope we just answered that question for you if you want to go out on the river there. I think, and we talked about this yesterday here, Lou, if you're going on the St. John's and let's say you're going out in the water, maybe out near Naval Air Station Jacksonville, where you have that big fetch. Fetch is the amount of time the wind blows over the ocean for everybody at home. So let's say boaters know what the fetch is. Let's say you have that big fetch and it's blowing straight north to south up the river. It's not going to create big waves, but it is going to create enough where it is going to be uncomfortable.
Yeah, you need a chop on the river, and that's that part of the river that's essentially like a lake.
Yeah, it's a big lake.
It's a big lake, and you get the fetch coming across. You get some little minor white capping, a little moderate chop on the river, so it'll be bumpy, and we've seen issues in smaller crafts on that part of the river as well. So again, just keep the boat ramp close. I just say this doesn't need to be one of those we're taking a 4-hour jaunt, down the river, getting away. Just, if you're going to get on the river, fine, but, be close to the hill or the dock, so to speak.
And continue to check back in check the radar.
100%.
Most boaters know that. Check the radar. They know where they're going. They know how to be smart about it. But I think one of the things I worry about on a day like today, if we're talking specifically boating, is the people that are renting a boat for the 4th of July weekend who are not actively boating. They just don't know how far is okay away from the ramp on a day like today. They don't know where the rough spots are and that long fetch coming in from the north. So it's just, you got to be smart about it and make 100%. Sure you're staying safe out there.
And hopefully those guys renting the boat, being the experts, are given that advice as well. So make sure, the boat renters, I love it. I love the folks getting out on the river for the first time. It needs to be accessible. It needs to be for everybody. But you got to ask the questions. All right, talk to those guys renting you the boat. They're on the dock. They're kind of walking you through. That's showing you where the safety equipment is, and that's their job. So, and then of course have that First Coast News app handy. I'm going to keep saying that because if something does pop that goes a little crazy, we're always sending push alerts. All right, your infrared look with a little lightning layer on there. All right, so some decent convection that would line up pretty nicely with our Gulf Stream, and then a little bit further east of the Gulf Stream as well, getting that warm water. So getting the convection going, but emphasizing that this is a very lopsided storm, typical of a good shear environment, which again Robert was mentioning that is encouraging when it comes to not seeing too much strengthening beyond becoming a tropical storm as it makes its way north. Short-lived system. This is going to be a quickie, kind of like our previous with Andrea, which was just out in the middle of nowhere, and after that we had Barry, which was more of a Mexico situation. So now we've got our third officially of the season. One thing we can do now is check off Chantal, and we'll move to our D-name storm, Dexter, which we'll be watching. But I will say, looking globally, looking locally, not much else to track right now. So the next 7 days.
The East Pack is actually quiet for the first time in weeks. They've got, I think, the Flossie was their, so they're already in their F name.
Yeah.
I mean, they're cruising through their list. Lou, do have a couple other questions.
Go ahead.
One person did say, KK Bronson on YouTube said electricity went out. We were talking about tropical storms being bad. Francis and Jeannie in 2004, both of those storms knocked out power. So, tropical storms can be messy.
Oh, for sure.
This is going to be the issue for the Carolinas, not Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Is it going to be bad on Monday to travel from Medina here?
Better Monday.
Much better Monday.
Travel Monday. If you have that option and you don't have to do it tomorrow or today, by all means, travel Monday.
I mean, if you're going across the state of Florida, there will be some rain. I mean, every day in summer there's going to be rain. It's coming in from the south and west, but much, much better.
Yep, agreed. Here's a question, a very elementary question, but let's address it in case the folks are just tuning into the stream. Estrelita asking, when is this? This is right now. We are, in fact, live. And this is just coming in. In fact, an hour ago at 8 o'clock, we officially got the named storm, Tropical Storm Chantal. So it is right now. And if you are watching, Estrelita, if you're watching from Jacksonville, just know our impacts are minimal relative to what will be experienced in the Carolinas. But we will have large surf, rip current risk. We're going to have some off and on showers today, but as we were saying, no reason to cancel plans. We have the weather impact alert, just so you know, you're aware that the waves of rain will be coming on, so you have the rain gear handy in the back seat and just prepared for that, and also the rip current risk. So that was another element of this weather impact alert. We want you to be safe in the water today, and maybe if it was a planned beach day, that keep it on the sand, enjoy the view, but just stay safe on the beach as we take a look from the Jacksonville Beach Pier south, and I'm anticipating a lot of folks. We had, I'm hearing anecdotally, record-breaking day yesterday as far as crowds.
Yesterday, I looked at this camera. This is the Jacksonville Beach Pier camera, which, by the way, if you ever go to the pier, you can wave at our camera. There's a weather station right there. It's very obviously a camera. That's what we're looking at. Yesterday, when I looked at this, it was from the dunes all the way out to the water, just people.
Yeah.
It was... Everybody's out there. And I think, and you see the water here, Lou, it's not the worst. Like, if you're a good surfer, you're fine. But I think in that type of crowd, and our lifeguards, a lot of them volunteers, they're out there, they're keeping people safe. But in that type of crowd, you're going to get a lot of people on the 4th who they're not averagely going out to the ocean. They don't know how to spot a rip current. They don't know, like, where the rough spots are, or if it is too rough. That always concerns me. And if we get through this weekend with no need for people being rescued, I would be just absolutely ecstatic. But it does worry me on a day like today when you have that. It's blue skies, but there's a high risk of rip currents, and I think that can be misleading for people.
Robert, this has been a absolutely phenomenal stream. Thanks for inviting me onto your program. Let's wrap it up with a 7-day forecast, shall we? And then we'll check in again frequently as needed. We'll be getting updates through our day on this Tropical Storm Chantal. But, we always like to look here and now, and then the next day or two. And then what's the next big weather story going to be? And our next big weather story, once we get through this weekend, we get back into a work week through our holiday, it's going to be the heat. All right. We get into that typical summer pattern where we're going to have the chance, certainly, for some afternoon showers or thunderstorms, not necessarily tropical storm driven, but more diurnally, convectively driven with the heat and humidity in the afternoons, and we're going to have plenty of that. So story 1A is going to be our temperatures. We get back, we've had a little break because of the overcast, because of the breezes, and that's given us a little break in our consecutive streak of 90-degree days we had going there for a while, but we get right back into it. Notice those midweek temps, early midweek temps in the middle 90s. So we're going to start talking about heat yet again. That'll be our next big weather story, and maybe even heat advisory level. Heat index values up near 110. Do we get to 108, 110? We got to watch Tuesday, Wednesday very carefully.
All right, Lou. Well, thanks everybody for stopping by. If you have any additional questions, though, myself, Lou, we're open. You can 100%. Shoot us a message. And we're also continuing the stream on First Coast News Plus all day on this tropical system. Also, don't forget to check out Hurricane Central on firstcoastnews.com. If you want to forecast yourself, you want to get the latest information, we got plenty of graphics there and everything. You can track this storm and the radar over your area and, of course, across Jacksonville. So thank you very much for joining me here, Chief Meteorologist Lewis Turner. We always love having you.
I appreciate it. It's a good weekend. We'll be back in the morning. Let's do it again.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
This is a Tracking the Tropics update with a certified most accurate weather team at First Coast News.